So I hit a wrong button and this is in two parts. So, back to this question, which you probably never left. If you forget that this is an increasing trend, you can say that it's going up. And the last thing I want to mention is you may be asked at some point for something called the line of best fit. I'll write that down in a second. So I'm going to show you what a line of best fit looks like for this particular picture. This is a terrible line of best fit for this picture because it's not a best fit. It is a line. My line has to match the data points, so it doesn't have to run through all of these. It's not a connect the dot exercise. What you're trying to do is you're trying to draw yourself a line. So this isn't a good one. I'm going to leave it there for a second. You're trying to draw yourself a line that goes through as many dots as possible, but also keeps as many dots above it as below it. So most people will have a line of best fit that looks sort of like that. And you should technically have the arrow on the end, because that arrow on the end says that it could go on forever as far as minutes. Technically, I guess this one can't because you've got a mark of 100, but because we haven't reached 100, it can keep going. So I've done a decent job here of going through a couple of dots or going near a couple of dots. Some of you may argue that maybe it's best like that, but what matters is that it matches what you've got on the page for dots. So that thing that I just drew is called a line of best fit. It's a line drawn with a ruler, and it best fits the dots. And some of you may see this very uncool acronym, line of best fit. All right, so if I were you, I would try to take care of this question all by myself. Because to be perfectly honest, number one, the Google Classroom has the solutions anyhow, so you can check your work, but there's my picture, there's my data, it's the same kind of thing. What I do want to draw your attention to before maybe you take a little break, I'm going to take a little break to put the dots on, is that if I put this on big screen, which makes it hard to read for you, it is missing some information, and the information it is missing is the labels. So I've gone 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, consistent scale on the x-axis. And this one, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200. Consistent scale on the y-axis. What it's missing is a label sitting here and a label sitting here and an overall title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to title these. So remember where the independent and dependent variables are. So this is the independent and this is the independent. This is the dependent, and this is the dependent. So on the side-to-side x-axis, I am going to write serving size in grams. Because that's where it belongs. And then on this one, I'm going to write calories, because that's the dependent variable. Cheating. And overall title, I'm going to say calories for Arby's, because apparently this was for Arby's sandwiches. All right. back to normal size screen, or normal-ish size screen. That's not it. There it is. So what you're going to do is the exact same stuff as before. I'm going to start at the bottom because I can actually see the numbers. Nope, I lied. There, I can see the numbers. So I have to do 100. I'm going to do this one in red for fun. 141 on the serving size. So 110, 20, 30, 40, and a little bit, up to 300 right there, and 29. And I'm going to put my dot there and erase all the other stuff. So I might be off by a teeny bit because, again, my box size isn't that great. Next one, 195, so that's like here. And 475, so 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, so right in there. So because I have so much trouble doing this, and I need to scroll around a bit, I am going to break for a sec. Hopefully I will not hit the wrong button when I come back. And we'll get you a picture of this data. Pause. So I hit the right button this time. What you'll notice maybe is that as I got deeper into the numbers, as I was going up the chart, because remember I started at the bottom, not that it matters, I checked them off to go, so I'm just going to erase that, not that it matters if you erase it or not. What you do have to be careful of is that there's no real extra marks on this, so I got to take off this stuff, those little ticks, and I have to take off these lines, which, or not lines, but freehand lines. And then the last thing I'm going to do is check to see that I've got all my dots on there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. So it says, describe the trend seen. So the trend, again, is increasing. Or it's going up. So as the serving size gets larger and larger and larger, the calories get larger and larger and larger. Now, the way you say that is this next statement. It says, describe the relationship seen. So as the serving size increases, the number of calories. You could say increases. I'm going to say also increases. So if I take a look at the last question, as the independent variable increases, so that's locked in stone, the dependent variable either increases or decreases depending on what is happening. So did I say it right? As the independent variable increases, yes, I've got that right, independent variable. The number of calories, that's the dependent variable, also increases. So it doesn't decrease, it increases. And we've got that answer. So I am going to put a couple of things under the big ideas. Number one, I am going to cut and paste this information. So let's group it together, clone it, pull that over to here. And then the other thing I want to write down is this. So I'm going to group that together. I'm actually going to drag it the way it is into the big ideas so I don't clutter that page, and it's on here somewhere. Remember that you should probably write this stuff down so you can refer to it for all exit cards and for your knowledge hooks. So this stuff here, needed on all graphs. This statement right here is describing the relationship. So it's the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. So you say, as the independent variable increases, the dependent variable either increases or decreases. You have to pick one. Another thing I want to add is that if you're given a table of values, oh, lovely. Sometimes my pen shorts out. So when you're given a table of values, this is the independent variable, this is the dependent variable, and when you're given a grid, this is the independent variable and this is the dependent variable. So those are some important facts, some big ideas from graphing. One thing I did not do on this picture that I'd like to do is I would like to put on the line of best fit. So my line of best fit will have to run kind of through these dots, and let's see if I attach it here, because if I have a serving size of 0, I should technically have 0 calories. So let's see if that works. Hey, that's not bad. And there is my cool acronym, line of best fit, which you do not have to label a line of best fit, it just is. So this time I'm a little more prepared, mostly because I wanted you to have a visual of the booklet that you needed for this. But here is your homework, this sheet right here, or your practice material, that sheet right there. When you are doing this and the chart is sideways, this is your independent variable, this is your dependent variable. It says to create a well-labeled scatter plot. That means you need to include these 3 pieces of information. And so that's number 3. And then same deal with number 4. Remember that this is your independent variable, this is your dependent variable. This is your independent variable, this is your dependent variable. In this one is your independent variable, this one is your dependent variable. So that is the practice material. If you need help with it, there is me, and there's also the solutions on the Google Classroom, so you can check that out. And then finally, the 4th page is reviewing some material from the past. So I think it was the cone and pyramid questions reviewed Pythagorean theorem. So there's a Pythagorean theorem question, some geometry from before the break, and some of the stuff that we're going on with, which is you being able to translate words into numbers and talking about starting point and rate of change. So all this stuff is actually on the Google Classroom. So now you should be able to finish mission 9. So it is complete as far as what you need to do, and that is in the knowledge hook. Remember that you should go back from before the break and finish all knowledge hooks. that you haven't started or can do better on. And again, unknown date for this because I will figure that out and announce it in a different place other than the video. So worksheet and knowledge hook. So you can do this. Do I need more arrows? There's more arrows. You can do mission 9. All right, so this will go on the Google Classroom as well. Both parts.